MrTransformers96 here with an update to my Iron Man 3 movie review. I did get like 1 or 2 requests to even do this, and I was actually planning to do this even before I got those requests. Because it was a pretty interesting video considering that I got a lot of response on it. I've got a lot of comments. Some people totally agreeing with me, some people totally disagreeing with me. It's so weird because not only did I notice this from my own comments from the video, but just on other videos and other things that I've heard. Some people really like this movie, some people just hate it, so it is pretty interesting. So first of all, this will contain spoilers, of course, and so let me just give you a little update. I did see it a second time. The first time, one thing I totally forgot to talk about was 3D, because I did see it in 3D the first time I went. Nothing too special, that might just be me, but I really just did not care for 3D. It wasn't worse than anything I've seen, it's just I really never liked 3D for the most part. There was nothing too special, but what was nice about this movie, Iron Man 3, is they didn't really do anything where it was like, oh, they did that just to get a 3D, moment in there. So it was nice not to have them do that, because that is quite distracting when they like point something like right at the screen or something just so that it would be 3D. So I'm glad they didn't do that, but 3D is nothing special. If it was me, it just could see it regular. It's just fine that way, but that's just me. Some other things, from the comments, a lot of people, I'd say that a lot more people agreed with me than disagreed with me, which was interesting. Or maybe that's just the people that commented would be the ones that would agree with me, so making a comment would be easier for them. I don't know, but from what I saw, more people agreed with me than disagreed with me. And there's really only 2 huge complaints that I have about this movie. I want to get that across. It's not like I thought that the whole movie just was really bad. It's just there were 2 huge things that I did not like about it. Of course, first of all, it's the Mandarin. I did a lot of talking with that, so I won't go into that again. And then the Extremis plot, I really didn't like that because it kind of took the reality out of Iron Man, which is so huge. So that's just the reason I didn't like it. And then I did get a couple people hating on Disney a little bit, and just in Disney's defense, if I'm not mistaken, they really didn't do anything. I don't think that they ever will do anything. All they did was buy Marvel, so they're just collecting the money from it, but it's still Marvel running everything. So don't really hate on Disney, because it's not their faults at all. I mean, I don't think that they had anything involvement with this other than maybe advertising, but with the actual movie, I don't think that they did a single thing with it. So don't hate on Disney for that. What else? An update video. So the things I did like about it, because some people thought I focused more on the negative in my first video, which is very true. I did, definitely. So some things that I liked about it. Happy Hogan, good to see him back. I'm glad they did a little more with him, and it was really cool that he was caught in the explosion. It made it more personal for Tony Stark, and in turn, because we like Happy Hogan and we like Tony Stark, it made it feel a little more personal for the audience, which was just really nice. They did just like, he was in the beginning like a lot, and then he went into, then he was in the explosion and got hurt. So like we don't see him until the very end for just a few seconds, but that's not a huge problem whatsoever. Overall, I liked his parts in the movie. Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts at the end with the whole extremist thing. I didn't talk too much about that. I just didn't understand why he was like feeding her the extremis virus or whatever it was, because they didn't even like show what it is. Is it a shot or is it like some gas? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just didn't understand why Killian was giving that to her, because it didn't, there was no like explanation for it. Like, he said that he wants her as like a trophy. I don't know. I really did not understand that, and I think a lot of people didn't understand that. The biggest problem with the extremist thing was the just lack of explaining anything. Nobody knew what the extremist was. Nobody knew why that it made the people turn into fire, and nobody knew why he was doing this to Gwyneth Paltrow. Nobody knew, to a certain extent, nobody knew why, what he wanted from this, because they really didn't explain it. He said something about having the terrorists in one hand and the presidency in the other. I don't know. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. I guess just power. I guess you can just say he just wanted power, but it really just didn't really, it didn't make sense. But that's just me. Another thing that I noticed the second time when I saw it is in the AIM factory when they're trying to get Iron Patriot out of his armor. The people that are working on him to get him out of the armor before Killian comes in, they are like wearing these like suits that would look great in yellow. I so wish that they made those suits yellow, because it would be a little throwback to the classic AIM, which would have been so cool, but they just didn't. And I don't know, something just tells me, like, I feel like Shane Black, who's the director and writer of this, he really just doesn't care much about Marvel as much as the other movies, not just Iron Man, but I mean Thor, Captain America, the Avengers, especially with the Avengers. I feel like the other directors, you know, they really they liked Marvel and they respected it, and they that's why they could do a good movie that really you know, stays true to the to what it's all about. In this movie, there were a lot of things that they could have done, a lot of Easter eggs like they do with a lot of the other movies, that they just didn't in here, and it was just a little strange. It felt like that Shane Black just didn't care about Marvel. Now that is just my personal feelings about what I just felt from watching it. I could totally be wrong. He could be a huge Marvel fan. I have no idea. Overall, I think a lot of his choices I really didn't like too much. More positives. Let me go back to the positives. What else did I like? The whole... I did like them not showing the armors until the end, although I would like to see more of the armors in the movie. Them not showing them to the end was cool. It definitely created a cool climax to the film. And, this is something else. And I'm kind of going back to the negatives here, but sorry. But the next thing is... the chess piece. I didn't talk about that much. I talked that with the Fallen Bee. I think that's your username. But I talked about that with him in personal messages. But the chess piece. What I would have done if I was making this movie was I would have had them say it or show it. Some just like mention that they now have the technology to take out the arc reactor and take out the things that are killing them. I can't remember what they're called right now. And then to have him so he doesn't have to have that arc reactor, and that would have been great. So then have Tony Stark just be very hesitant to get it and just really not want to get it, because he kind of feels like he'd be giving up what makes him Iron Man and what makes him special. And then all the way at the end of the movie, they pretty much do what they did and actually have him get the procedure and show that he has grown and he understands now that he's strong enough as Tony Stark and doesn't need the Iron Man to hide behind kind of, and then gets it. I think that would have been so much better than just at the end all of a sudden saying, oh, and I got this procedure that you guys didn't know about and that I should have gotten years ago, but now I'm getting it. Bada boom. You know, they should have actually like explained it a little bit more. So I would have much rather had it done the other way. With Killian being Mandarin, I don't know if I talked about this. Actually, I'm gonna go just look at my other video really fast to see if I talked about this, to see if I should talk about it again or talk about it for the first time. Sorry about that, I went and checked, I skimmed through the video and it looked like I didn't talk about it, so I'm going to talk about it now. With Killian being like the Mandarin at the end, when I first watched it, I really didn't take it as anything more than I created the Mandarin, not that he was actually the Mandarin. I did get a comment or two about that, you know, he is the Mandarin now, so it's not like they destroy the Mandarin because he is. So I really don't consider that a good trade-off or an acceptable trade-off at all, other than slapping some Chinese-ish tattoos on him just like midway through the movie or to the end of the movie. I don't consider that being the Mandarin. If you want to do that and take a character that you're telling people that this is this character and then decide to trade that character and make the new character that real character, that's confusing as hell, but hopefully get it. If you're going to do that, you can't do it the way they did in Iron Man 3. A perfect example of doing that successfully and actually making it good is Batman Begins. The first Batman, they did it with Ra's al Ghul. In the beginning, you saw Ra's al Ghul, and he met all the characteristics of Ra's al Ghul and everything. Then he dies, and then midway towards the end of the movie, you realize that it turns out that Liam Neeson is the real Ra's al Ghul, and that works for one reason. Liam Neeson actually fits the bill of Ra's al Ghul. He is better than the first Ra's al Ghul, and that's why it absolutely works, because Liam Neeson, he really did have all the characteristics of Ra's al Ghul. Now you can't take the Mandarin, which is Ben Kingsley's character, which was portrayed beautifully as the Mandarin, as this new modern Mandarin, as the terrorist and everything. The great costume absolutely looks like Mandarin and acts like Mandarin, and then you can't take him and switch him to another person unless the other person fits the bill and should fit it even better. And Killian, just other than some dragon tattoos that he has, he possesses nothing that the Mandarin has. I guess like maybe the Mandarin, you know, his lava powers, maybe that can be considered as like Mandarin's rings or something. I mean, it doesn't work. So anybody who argues that Killian was actually the real Mandarin, I don't accept that at all. Killian created Mandarin, I'll give him that, but I don't consider him Mandarin whatsoever, so that's just my opinion. I don't know how you could accept him as the Mandarin, considering he isn't. I don't care if he calls himself that. He isn't at all. I don't know. So yeah, so that was another thing I wanted to address. Some more positives of the movie. The whole armor, like being able to break apart and come to him, is a cool idea. It's a neat idea. It's a little far-fetched, but that's fine because it's grounded in science and it's grounded in reality, which is something the Extremis plot needed. But it worked out pretty cool. It was a neat way. Iron Man wasn't really Iron Man much in this movie, but I liked it because he was, you know, if they're gonna go Iron Man, that's cool, or if they're gonna go Tony Stark, that's awesome. I really liked seeing a lot of Tony Stark and everything. That was cool. It was a funny movie too. I'm not don't get me wrong here. I like the humor, but I think that they just they sacrificed some good plot points and some good storytelling for some humor. So that's just the one thing I'll say. All of his, you know, armors get destroyed. It is kind of cool that when he blows them up, of course, they're like fireworks. It was a neat way to end it and have them you know, all just you know, exploding above them and everything. That was pretty neat. More things that I like about it, trying to think here, and not doing this to be rude. Let me think. I liked Iron Patriot. I mean, he was pretty neat. I think he looked really cool. He didn't do a whole lot, and when he like went into like the you know, hotspots, the foreign places that they're thinking the Mandarin was from, he really wouldn't be able to get on his phone. I mean, he'd get in so much trouble in doing that, but that's nothing, not a huge problem. Just Iron Patriot doesn't do much. They show him at the beginning, and we don't really see him a lot in the movie. I love that the Mini-Mates one is actually coming with the other guy's head, because of course his suit gets hijacked by like Killian's right-hand man, I guess you could say. I don't know, but overall it's a pretty good movie. Hold on one second. Sorry about that, guys, my phone was going off. But what was I saying? I did like the movie overall. I mean, overall it's a pretty decent movie in general, but they really just kind of you know, it wasn't a real Marvel movie to me. It certainly wasn't Marvel movie caliber. I really was disappointed, and it's really only two things that they did wrong, which was the Extremis and Mandarin. But those are two huge aspects to the movie, and because of it, it just kind of ruined the movie for me. So I really just overall did not like it. If you agree with me, if you don't, you know, let me know. I'll talk to you some more about it in the comments, like the last video. But those are my thoughts on it. And overall, it's a decent movie. One thing that it's really good for, it's good for kids. I mean, they'll like it. And people that aren't a big fan of Marvel stuff, or just people that aren't a big fan of the characters especially, if before the trailers for this came out, and if you ask somebody who is the Mandarin and they don't know, then they're gonna find it's gonna be fine. It's to anybody who actually like likes the Mandarin. To anybody that really could care less, you know, of course the movie's gonna be great. So overall, this is only disappointing for big fans of Marvel movies, and especially fans of the villains. I'm a huge villain person, so that's why it's a huge problem to me when they really just destroy all of the villains in this movie. But that's just my thoughts. So there you go. Hope that was a decent update, and thanks for watching.